everyone, my name is Paul, and today I'm replacing the catalytic converter and oxygen sensors in this 2007 Subaru Outback. The check engine light is on in this car, so let's plug in my Blue Driver scan tool to find out why. The scan tool connects to my phone with Bluetooth, and I have the dreaded P0420 code. If you do your own car repairs, pick up a Blue Driver on Amazon. It's a great tool. When you get that P0420 code, the computer is saying the catalytic converter is not working as well as it should. Now you could have a worn out cat, or maybe your car just needs a tune-up. If the engine isn't running as well as it should, the catalytic converter will have trouble removing that unburnt gas from the exhaust. Before spending hundreds of dollars on a new cat, you should first replace the spark plugs, spark plug wires, and air filter. Now I've already done that on this car and it does run a lot better, but that check engine light came back on. So this time, I'm replacing the catalytic converter and oxygen sensors. I'll start by getting the air intake out of the way. Now I can unplug both oxygen sensors. There's another little bracket down here holding the wiring. Lift the car by the subframe behind the oil pan. The jack stands are holding the car up by the lower control arm mounts. It's okay to reach under the car, but don't climb under there until it's on the jack stands and you're sure it can't fall off. I'll start by taking off the 3 nuts connecting the front and rear exhaust pipes. The last nut stripped out, so I'm hammering on a 12-point socket. That also didn't work, so I'll cut it off. There are 3 studs holding the exhaust onto each cylinder head. Now the pipe can come off. I used jack stands to catch the exhaust. I'm not sure if that was really helpful. And there it is, the pipe is out. Remember to remove the old gaskets and clean the sealing surfaces. The exhaust manifold and catalytic converter is one big piece. I'll replace it with the Bosal 096-1856. I found the best price on carid.com. I'll also need some new oxygen sensors. CarID has the best price on these. There are some cheap Chinese sensors out there too. Make sure to buy real sensors made by Denso. I added some anti-seize to the threads and they're ready for installation. Oxygen sensor sockets are used to install the sensors, but they're not strong enough to remove them if they're stuck. The Bosal exhaust manifold and catalytic converter comes with new gaskets. Make sure to thread the studs into the cylinder head before installing the exhaust. If you try to thread them in while holding the exhaust up, you will cross-thread the studs into the cylinder head. I'm installing all the studs and nuts first, just hand tight. Once they're all installed, go back through and tighten them. This hose clamp was broken from too much rust. I'll install a new one to prevent the heat shield from rattling. Now just plug in the oxygen sensors and reinstall the intake. It's time to start the engine and check for leaks. Listen to the exhaust and put your hand near the gaskets to feel for leaks. The new exhaust is covered in oil to prevent rust. A bit of smoke at first is normal. Now I can take the car off the jack stands. I'll use the Blue Driver scan tool to clear the code and turn off the check engine light. Don't forget to take the Blue Driver tool out of the car. This thing is very easy to lose. Have you ever wondered what the inside of a catalytic converter looks like after 183,000 miles? Let's find out. This is a great time to cut shit up with the giant Sawzall. And there it is. Notice how the little squares seem worn out on the lower left corner of the screen. This part of the catalytic converter is called the substrate. The substrate is the ceramic that holds the catalysts, which are platinum and palladium. These materials help burn any fuel that wasn't burned properly by the engine. Some of it is missing, so the catalytic converter doesn't work very well anymore. Now let's go for a test drive to see if this car is better. I'm flooring it at this light. It's still a slow car, but it runs well. I drove it very aggressively, going to full throttle a lot. The point is to burn as much fuel as possible to see if the new catalytic converter can handle it. The test drive went well and the check engine light did not turn back on, so my work here is done. Replacing the catalytic converter in this car is pretty easy, but you need to be careful not to cross-thread those studs into the cylinder heads. Remember, if you get the P0420 code, you should first do a tune-up. Then, if you still get the code, replace the catalytic converter and oxygen sensors. That's all I have for now, and I'll see you guys next time.